feedback, and then you can hear what we do. Do you want to start?
You start.
Shall I start? Okay. I told you that I really enjoyed this, which is kind of like, well done, a number of things to go through. Let's start with your vocal. I'll just start with the technicals, the vocal recording, okay? I don't know if you've practiced it, how much you've practiced recording, listen back, practice recording, listen back. But just, if you're going to use vocal recording, you've really got to work at it. Have you changed it since I saw it the other day?
We've turned the music down
A little bit. You've just got to think about the qualities, and also the qualities of different voices. Recording is a challenge. It really is a challenge. I know you want to go into kind of like that, much as I think, but it's something to really, really look at. And it might be something to look at before the evening show. Just look at the quality of it. And the other thing I would say from that, therefore, is if you do that as well, your live vocals have got to therefore hit and match that. So your live vocals can be louder in order to do that, because the recorded vocal, is really, really good, really, really loud. Take your time with that. And the other thing, it might be worth, have a listen back. I said this to you the other day, you know it, but some of the writing and language is great. The stuff you've written, but what we don't do is lose it with pace by you speeding up. And you're really, really, you've got such a really, really nice slower pace recorded. Live, you go for it. It's like, right, I've got to get these dialogue out, otherwise I'll run out of time and finish. So just I think take that, because you've done so much writing, it's a shame if we lose that, which is great. Writing's great. I love it, by the way, I really do like it. I'm kind of just going through these things. Gray, look at that makeup, it needs to be theatrical. So as much as how much reads here, you need to step away to see what it looks like. Really get a sense of how much, and for me, I think it just needs pushing a bit further. So just in terms of those things, and maybe we're doing something with the other two as well if you can do that, but think about that in terms of those things. Live volume, speed clarity, yeah, just on those recordings, look at the clarity. Look at the clarity of your speech so we don't lose those things. And really like, there's so much really nice movement and gesture within it. I think you can push it and stylise it even more. There's some really, really nice bits. Harrison's fantastic stillness here. Some really, really nice unison work together. Your stepping across was really nice. You could tighten that position of that up a little bit more, I think. And I think some of the bits you do early on, stylised touching and stuff like that, I think you can highlight even more. Just think about the quality of the move all the way to the end. It's an old dance thing that you dance all the way through to the end of your fingertip when you're kind of doing a gesture. It goes all the way through to the very end of it. And I think don't lose your movement. Really, really, really look at it, the quality of it, and really, really make it all precious in terms of doing those things. Erin, good.
Just good.
Good. Really, really good pace change. You know what I said to you there? I felt you did early on. You did a really, really nice speeded up pace change that worked here. Although I have to question whether you want to use heels.
Yeah.
Be your choice. But be aware that it's one of those things. A, it's clunky. B, we slightly worry for your safety, especially coming down the ramp. Just be aware about those things. So just think about that. Whether you can get boots that aren't a might be worth looking about. I have put don't rush. Do you need the blackout for transition? Is there a way that you could find that transition that happens in light? That you could move in and out of it without kind of going to blackout?
I think that is something we can look at.
Say again.
That is something that we can look at.
Yeah, just otherwise we kind of go to blackout and we think it's that sense of a scene change. But there's been so much action happening that just to kind of like to do it in light and then get to the next place, it seems a little bit like, and here we hide what's going on. And I don't think you need to do that. So think about that. I've talked about great stillness. Great use of, I said to you the other day about the kind of concept of an island, use of stage and levels, which is really nice. Really, really nice fall max, that fall, because I was able to pay attention and see it there a little bit more. Really, really nice fall and reach, but that I could see you checking where your feet were, but it didn't look like you are.
I missed one of the steps. So it was a real fall.
Oh really? Okay, well you controlled it really, really well, because it didn't look like you were looking for it in a crap way. I could tell you were, but it wasn't like you kind of like, I don't know where I am. You did it really, anyway, it worked for me, it worked really nice. At least you hurt yourself. Harrison, really nice use of the breath just after that. I think you could push that even more. I heard it, would have loved to have heard it even more. Would have loved to have heard it from a more volume point of view. And like I say, going back to the unison, I really like your unison. Erin, Harrison, I think you can just maybe work a little bit more on that unison and the timing that you are at the end. So it really is as precise as other things. And I wouldn't rush the laying of the petals. Felt really rushed. It felt not tender. And I think therefore you can just take your time. Rather, it just almost felt there was an element of emptying your ashtray from a car about it. I don't know if you know it. That's my analogy from today. But you know, when there was that, it's I don't need these petals anymore. Oh, there's one for you. You know what I mean? But actually, you could have just taken your time a little bit more with it. I think.
Next time I'll just throw them in.
That's what you did the first time.
Yeah.
And that's me. I'll hand over to Benjamin now to follow up. You can beat ashtray from car.
Thanks, Stan.
Isn't this different from when you saw it last time?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. It's massively different. It's great. It's really, really nice. It's really nice. It is hilarious how much I'm comparing it to what you I think even if you just walked on stage, said your names and left, it would be better than what I'd seen before. But I'll give the first real compliments. It's a really nice blend of multimedia. The voiceover is a lovely touch. Like sometimes, you know, there's sometimes when you hear that the students want to use voiceover, you get very fearful that it's just because they don't want to learn lines. Which is why, and I don't know what the motivation was, but regardless, the end result is a really effective one. The vocal effects give a real presence, and I agree with Stan in terms of don't hide your performance behind the vocal effects. If you're going to enjoy that language, and let the vocal effects be like a little bit of seasoning on top rather than the full flavour packet. But that means if you are going to have big, spacious, reverbed vocals talking about dramatic things, when we then cut back to you talking in the space, you have to work to make sure it matches. Because otherwise, it is, not, step down's the wrong word, but we feel the difference. We feel the real difference, because you're losing so much weight to the vocals just because you haven't got those effects added on. So you really want to make sure you're slowing it down to give the dramatic impact, you're finding the nice inflections within those lines, the way you interplay with each other. Just really know that you've got so much further you can go with the actual delivering your live vocals. The blackout was one of the most genuinely confusing moments for me, because you see blackout and I half expect the staging to get moved, which again we would always say, why not do that in the light? But then the fact that basically all that really happened was Erin went up on there and then you two just sort of stood by. It felt awkward, and it wasn't helped by the fact that the music just cuts out. The music cuts out, the blackout goes, and then suddenly we're in this stage. And originally I wrote, it'd be nice to sort of have some of that instrumental music playing under the dialogue. And that's not to sort of score your entire piece, because actually I think it probably is good to have a section where we just get to hear your vocals. But if that's the case, you definitely don't need the blackout. In my opinion, in Stan's opinion, it's ask yourself, what is the benefit for you? What are you actually getting from that blackout? Because it doesn't really also feel like we're entering a new section of text. It sort of just feels like now we're carrying on. The physical theatre and the sort of transition throughout the space is really nice, but like Stan said, in terms of finishing your lines and extending all the way up to your fingertips, consider every transition of movement. Like there's some moments where you guys are just walking around the stage. Don't think of those as I'm starting here and I need to get here. Consider what you're doing with that walk, so it doesn't sort of become slightly lovely, gracious movement, stomp, stomp, stomp to the next step. Lovely, gracious movement. I really consider how you can bring that in. I'm basically talking about finding all those little details. And there's some lovely moments where you can embellish it further. The passing of the crown or the removal of the crown, there's some real sort of opportunities there for you to just embellish that with some finer details. Erin, yeah, you probably do want to find some boots, because again, it doesn't help with the stompiness in terms of walking around. The music volume and the dialogue, it's interesting that you say that the music's been turned down, because actually the first thing I wrote was, I think the music could be turned down a little bit more. For the most part, it is clear, but it was when it was coming to the second section of text, I actually wasn't able to hear what was being said, and that might be an element of emphasis and diction, but I think also it is just a level of the music slightly too high, slightly too high. Other than that though, visually, it's just really nice and interesting. It's a lovely little piece, and I cannot wait to watch it again, but that's why focus in on those now more minute moments, the real hyperfixation on that physicality and your transitions between your different movement states, and just embellishing those vocals further. But lovely.
Just a note on those boots, because my other note was I really kind of like the strange costume. I quite like the strange costume style of it. Bizarrely, it kind of looks slightly put together. It looks a little bit like, I don't know, Amish people who found some modern clothes. But but I don't know whether you'd be happy to go barefoot as an absolute radical. You know what I mean? As a
Oh, no, not barefoot. Go in socks.
well, you heretic. You know what I mean?
Fluffy socks.
But you know what I mean? But that would add to. Isn't it funny how kind of like young people are? Oh, I don't do bare feet. It's like, really?
Grim.
But actually, that kind of sense of, again, strangeness. You know, I mean, you can wear sandals. It doesn't need to be. You know what I mean? But it's that sense of you have got a real nice eclectic mix of.
Flip-flops.
You probably have just done this, but it looks like you've gone to a charity shop, just gathered a load of stuff and thought that'll do. But I really like that. I really like that. Oh, there's a bit of cloth and a bit of tie there around, and that'll do as a thing. There's something about the playing up, the playing, the makeup play about it. There's something quite childlike in some ways made by that. You know, like kids play. You know, I'll be a cowboy, any old hat, you know what I mean? There's my scarf, which is my mum's, you know what I mean? But there's something about that about it. Oh yeah, there's a bit of gold tissue paper you can have that, you know what I mean? It kind of works really well, which I quite like. But I'm with Ben. I mean, I said before, I find it really interesting, really enjoyable piece, and I think, you know, this is that sense of like creating something new from something is great. I think it's really clever and really well done. There you go. Thank you very much, you lot.
I have makeup.
Perfect.
You alright?
Makeup white.